smart too. Nah. I think I'm going for make it.
I threw against AP.
Harker AF.
I threw against 3. I was so close to it.
She's 4-0. She's hitting William. So probably not 5-0, but we'll see.
Damn, that's a whole
Right,
bro.
you're so right.
No, I mean like even.
No, William.
Stop digging your grave deeper.
Not Williams.
Wait, we should.
I know William, we're friends.
But
But you know what would be even cool? Yeah, you should probably do that.
Yeah, just keep it home.
But
Yeah, sure. I'll do it.
still don't have time. I'm not gonna watch it.
Where are you going?
I'm not gonna watch it.
Where are you going?
To rugby. That's where we're doing. I'm playing rugby.
Okay,
Bye, Sean.
Bye, good luck.
Yeah.
Wait, Sean, here's the purples.
Do you have speakers? I mean, I was gonna say, no, you okay if I stand there?
Yeah, that's fine.
Alright, just the reason when you see it, sorry.
They used a trash can earlier.
Trash can, interesting. I have to wait on a trash can at some point.
Here.
Thank you.
Bro, don't hold your laptop like that. It's gonna break.
What?
Don't hold your laptop like that.
It's taken a lot of damage, and I'm sure it'll be fine.
Alright.
It's been through a lot worse. Like, you can see the case doesn't seem off. I guess I'd find it fall off every. I don't know, it's fine.
Alright, I have the doc.
I'm good too.
I'll wait.
I'll tell you when I'm ready. I'm downloading it.
Same one, right against each
Yeah.
other.
Just opening it. Okay.
You good?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Playing the United States ought to prohibit the extraction of phosphorus from federal public lands and waters advantage to transition to be points of coming emissions from phosphorus are the biggest factor for Title 11.2. Humans causing increased emissions from our common wealth created in the low generally not about who gets here for suspecting of phosphorus severe as a consequence of the drought and laser in the company using one to be the risk that you don't take the left coast and try to advance phosphorus extraction the only solution to the climate crisis. Winters 23. Scientists from Congo saying on the evolution from the best of the one point to the smart man causing an opposite direction need to stop the bus of the authorities Japan being a certain federal and the ones I would activity in Mars and the direction. These technologies so technologies for international decarbonization and withdrawal from Paris means that raving commitment to renewable transition is key. Ensures global follow on the period 22. Keep temperature global food release and possible the US global diverse and continuation. Reduce all emissions US was in US before the new government some structure. US give skepticism US as a look and other countries wanting to generate renewable energy healthy. Competition for renewable decrease of every use reduction of transfer economy renewable energy nations from development negation for people and carbon extinction in terms of every effect of personal activity research to celebrate and also in 123. Warming overall attack the less the temperature is higher to achieve constitution is not the government and president size and the outside done government to reverse will lead to association maybe to our just those ability evolution of some excess and like that food security the vulnerability of financial resources will around and climate change and global catastrophe where this is at the top and foster pollution is never with also the renewable revolution is key COVID-19. We are probably able to enforce energy less and colder so the first the government for energy is sustainable world and well space for reason levels and 1960 energy color energy overall in the zero already 50 most of people that session and also strong federal and across 25% of the total emissions alone in 22. Emissions according to US state for phosphorus federal plans want to emission central and high emissions accounting for US emission was the drug federal laws was the cost of reducing federal activity drug reduction and even ships on our federal like on one benefits of global emission gas reduction and fossil fuel and speak of policy and running extraction plus carbon lock and exposed overall by stranded assets as 018. Particularly 6% fossil fuel reduction and precision of any carbon lock in December cost of fossil fuel coming with reduced organic and facilities carbon and take on the more question federal figures created assets encourages investment in renewables in 2023. And as Mr. Government will also reduce investment the transition government investment more responsible the government duration of government organizing such as financial services. The asset from assessing money position for example, but it will entertain centers also involved, and populations are essential. Below 23. Step-by-step policies for innovation, 170 from difference in R&D, limiting profitability, simply trying to build an efficient capability, increase consumption, advertise our central, leads to technological innovation, controlling renewable technology, manage use cooperation, guidance, boxing, common goals, justice, disruption, and equalization. Level 23. Use step practice for making credibility, common variety, common sorry, most of the promises that are not also used with respect to all the survey, this is my work as an analysis for artists and it's study people who look at it, but the people promises which have used secret common, those are like the future latest ability is responsibility, which is in my nature slave, use and multi-laws, social essential threats, sharp up to 22. Pandemic, you can fix security, social protection, method, less social security, political, essential, ensure, recognizing, ensure that our blessing, market, is as cutting on the global, structural, catastrophic, execution, determinant, energy, we can have a national, essential comments, accelerating biodiversity, war scarcity, disease, so the last kind of divergence, as a consequence, global consequences, but intelligent thinking and natural challenges for the freaking multilateral, we are to exist and succeed, because the cooperation will use this global comments, and general will follow one and cooperate with the U.S. and common actions, but they are looking to the U.S. to take the first step. That is key. Article 16. Transmission micromodes and China, which is a great time to see. Resources to the GHG, migration, ability, factor, climate change, information, climate change, record, economic, future, with the American shift, and energy, will affect Chinese, returning a low carbon background, cooperation, clean energy, great liberation for use, global sharing, with energy related concerns, religion, and foreign products, and initiatives, upgrading strong global initiatives, the U.S. China common policies and free global, which is those over. 23. Decent to memory, progress, and common cooperation, to manifest the countries on board, looking for the common cooperation, when I think of our relationship, cooperation, crucial sovereignty, proliferation, North Korea, denuclearization. Item 21. U.S. and partners are currently charged with China's pursuing the show with the record, North Korea to the Republic of Israel, the Persian, and from our Persian region, and the East African countries, including the collaboration with the Russian and national, with the North Korea to eliminate destabilizing strategic boundaries and today's up to lower integration, based relations, cooperation, prohibition, and non-proliferation, good relations, relations, and non-proliferation, sexual relations are going to be uncooperative, relations with the country, and the Pacific, and Russia, U.S. only cooperation, which China has been on, we can use some as East Asia, with China, contributing towards global cooperation, and trade, of its Great Peninsula, and absent the plan of the Chinese monopoly and renewals of devastating deals with locations for Kant 21. Although they're based on all church deals from market question which country is subject to debate, there's more consistent changes happening plus 70% decarbonization, rising acceleration of renewable, regular transition for transition renewable, generation for decarbonization, decarbonization, countries, 70% of solar systems, management around here, energy will be sometimes very some better methods, whose basic application concern for use with and energy of the wrong anyway, but then consideration now and now the line renewables are key factors of international technology, stack potential. 15. Choose renewable goods with the result of fuel understandably open and stable ecosystem, public budget, growing the Washington and ability for donations, as well as the influence of the United States financial networks, the British status and principle of the relationship and all Chinese social administration sector, and Chinese technology context teaching code 20. I have the information and the senior space soccer and restaurant commerce commerce topics for the something section the different of use of organization for the objection of the five class of people are the global quality basic of the news translation channel architect American digital rapid development of the mass power of setting global stability the framework. What for states maximizing expect well being one extinction ways of the framework will also need to use change number 15. Choose an instrument most of the actions of a change of people given obligated to ways not consequential not to be the knowledge are really most of the returning effort to protect us against but the goes reason to 6 centuries 90% of the reason for most reason and to use utility support specific to public access also if it aggressive takes all in 15 due to the subsidy the trades are different type so we can trade every company much to like as manages one of service and for time as well consistent in that concept that what you carry on the cardiac cost make money work make money when you basically will so say what's going on it's called so you go to just another time in the service of the best or best happiness.
Okay. Ready for cross? Are you?
Yes.
Okay. How do you determine the morality of an action under the 1EC's framework?
By its utility, i.e. how much amount is like the amount pleasure increase.
How do you measure utility?
We say the government, like if an action saves lives, if it increases happiness,
Okay.
if it minimizes pain.
How does that necessarily, how do you measure pain and pleasure?
You can't physically measure pain and
Okay.
pleasure, but you can
I guess on the sort of...
We also say that extinction is like the ultimate impact.
Alright, can you explain the warrants and the green evidence, I guess?
The green evidence?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So the idea is to resolve, to make a decision, i.e. resolve a trade, if you need a common metric, and the only intrinsic common metric is like a conscious experience, i.e.
Okay.
happiness, pleasure, and
That's
pain.
fine. I guess
We also
on the
say
sort
once
of,
we can resolve public
I have a different
experience.
question.
Yeah,
I guess, so is the AFF scenario like renewable investment, I guess?
There's a lot of scenarios.
Okay, so how does the AFF solve climate?
Climate, yeah, sure. We ban fossil fuels on federal public lands and waters. We see that spills over to other countries and it leads to a global renewable transition broadly.
Okay, so a global renewable transition is good.
Yes, renewable transition
Okay.
is good.
What are renewables?
Renewables are energy that does not use like depletable resources, i.e. like coal,
Okay.
or natural gases and things like that.
And how does the 1EC plan increase the availability of those things?
We say we foster renewable transition because not only do we like spur a change in like the U.S. and like globally against fossil fuels.
How do you spur it in the U.S.?
We ban fossil fuels. We say that.
Yeah. So how does the ban do
spurs,
this?
Spurs divestment, and we say like that encourages investment in renewables. So we do invest in renewables. Regardless, we've made two claims. First, we need to we increase the investment.
All right. What's the impact of multilateralism?
It's an existential impact filter.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah, sure. We say it's an impact filter to multiple different existential risks. I can give you a few: the pandemic, the war in Ukraine, food security, global.
And why are those things existential risks?
We say the cumulative effect of them
Okay.
become multiple existential risks.
All right, makes sense. All right, I guess on the China tech leadership, can you explain like the warrant for China tech leadership causing extinction? I guess it just seems to say balance and changes in the balance of power.
Wait, sorry. What did you say at the end?
It just seems to be saying like shifts in balance of power. How does that cause extinction? I guess.
Yeah, sure. We say it upsets global stability.
Yeah. So what's the scenario?
Global war. Also,
How does it cause global war?
Because it's just upsetting global strategic stability. That means that
But
the world is now unstable.
What is global strategic stability?
I.e., like about hegemony.
Okay. Wait, hegemony?
I.e., like there is a
Like, okay,
Sure.
like unipolarity?
Sure.
Okay. All right, that's fine. I'll send out the doc.
Coming off.
I'll tell you in a minute.
Sure.
Low-key, I forgot. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, I'm sending. Alright, doc is sent. It's been a long day. It's just gonna be a 13 off in any case. Just kidding. It's just gonna be let's count. 4 off, and then the AF. In the order of the first contention, the second contention, and the third contention. The third contention will be answered on the framework. All right, whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. It's just loading this stuff. I'm just gonna step away. I am not cheating.
Are there elims today?
No.
Oh, thank God. Alright.
It's almost done. Almost. Sorry, my computer's being really slow. Why do these things take forever? Great. Okay. Now it's frozen. Sorry. Okay, almost done. Unfrozen. Alright. Almost done. Right, yeah, so it's 4 off, and then usually will be answered on the Kant arguments, and then it'll just be their first and second contentions. Alright, everyone good? Alright, cool.
The 50 states and relevant subnational actors should suspend the administration of federal programs until the United States prohibits the extraction of fossil fuels on federal lands and waters and competes and solves conditions of plan number Fiat, but results in federal adoption and aggressively expands fuel sovereignty. Bloomberg 21. States and federal rivals, federalism recognizes massive dependence on servants and power to push back on cooperative states succeeded in changing federal law. States refuse to comply with the national program has the real effect that Fed relies on the state for enforcement and contradiction with state policy changes. Fed became far more cooperative and federal encroachment makes governance impossible. Extinction McKaylis 19. Eco-challenge relative to rate warming and climate change are symptoms of our failing governance. Transfer power from states into the federal. So much power concentrated makes politicians hedges of special interest in lobbying, organization, negotiations, impossible, unbalanced system, inability to pass budget, never get a lasting solution, pure dysfunction. We need reform towards physical policy priorities by returning power to the states. Next off, the United States should offer leases for fossil fuels from federal public lands and waters with a 100% royalty rate and end all other leasing. Issue a public declaration that all future fossil fuel leasing will be held at a 100% royalty rate. The counterplan competes and solves exploits a legal loophole in the IRA that requires the US to offer new leasing, but does not actually result in sales, reaching the plan's desired outcome without a prohibition. Web 22. The IRA only conditions renewable energy on offering of land, no requirement that leases actually be sold. Industry interest in oil and gas decline, leading to fewer leases being sold, likely to continue. The OM has authority to increase royalties above minimum levels. Changes to discourage oil and gas development on federal lands prohibitively costly. More than 90% of that land offered was not leased. The IRA does not ban. It leads to fewer acres for oil and gas, leaving more land available for renewable energy. The Inflation Reduction Act requires the US to offer new leases for fossil fuels as a condition for renewables. The plan would functionally ban renewables from public lands. Web 22. The IRA allocates billions for renewable energy drive down emissions provision, prevents the UI from leasing federal land for wind and solar energy projects unless it's offered land for oil and gas, high renewable energy. 2 fossil development firms, separate prohibition entails total cessation of leasing. Bonus 50. The difference between regulation and prohibition, the former contemplates continuance, the latter implies its entire cessation, and ethics must begin a priori for small to quality, even prescriptive means we cannot use how people are to determine how they should be. Deploying 16. Condition moral content in a way which government chooses known through reasonable, then declare to do specific truths a priori prescriptive as a moral law applying to all cannot be discovered through experience, cannot one how one should from how people to universality, impossible to discover post-story. Moral truths are true, all contexts, and second is its capability, reason is capable, anything else lacks a starting point. When we ask why we should follow something, we demand a reason which is infinitely regressive. This link turns their green argument as only we are able to explain infinite regress. Number 06. Requirements depend on external authority is capable. Why should I obey government demands? Reasons the authority depends on reason. When we why to ask for reasons, here's something on to ask why I demand a reason because the authority. A question cannot escape requirement to act for reasons. This if any requirements of all others derive since consistent there being reasons to obey them. Next, we as human beings have an innate intrinsic right to freedom, which is the basis for moral decision making. Rush 7. Innate right freedom and independence from being constrained cannot impose happiness on decisions. Treat as children and assume unable to understand useful or harmful cannot be based on happiness or empiric ethics autonomy. Practical reason based on law. Happiness is universally sought, not enough to entail universal desires. Hence, universal principle cannot be based on happiness. User choice is free and the transcendental rights based on free choice and our use of reason. Understand that to act on reason must be justifiable by everyone and to be binding. Thus, principles must be true in all instances, or they fail to guide action due to being non-binding. Government 06. Rational creatures act as share perfectly see same can see visibility of things. All rational creatures anyone who has 2 and 2 can see. Sees not just 4, but that anyone will see 4 perspective between personality of reasons also viable. From perspective shared by reasons compelled to find reason for not exercising control to find consideration visibility may be constant. Reward those as constituting reasons for other people and accepting cold as reasons capable regarded as reason for anyone. You trying to construct a perspective ask if I don't feel like a valid act only on back something will be universal. And the state of nature is unable to secure people's freedoms even when it will being unable to impose obligations as is immoral. Therefore, we're morally obligated to create the state. Such a state must be governed by an unlawful will. Public Bill 22. Unilateralism, providence, state of nature, cannot put everyone under obligation. Self-condition requires will that someone want to operate necessarily. Only will this law keep unilateral cannot serve as laws and infringes on freedom, legislative authority. Authorizing composition outlines clear freedom, requires responsibility, acquiring objects, external objects not be acquired unilaterally. Need for state replacing no one will with unlawful will. What is unlawful will? Act people form a state only one legitimacy of the state. Everyone gives up freedom to take it again. Rule by law, rulers when officials act for public purpose. So all require for legislative to be unlawful. Consistency between public and private workers act for public and act for creating rival conditions. Thus, the standard is consistency with the unlawful. There is intent for states cannot be held morally culpable for consequences we foresee because they cannot be calculated in the unpredictable nature of reality. Consequences by wild and predictions for the future or unverifiable. That free sector, we can always imagine something bad happening. Direct appeals to evolutionary traits that they make the claimant in the green evidence. That the winning dilemma means the way we evolved isn't necessarily correct, or rather traits which increase survival. So they cannot be the basis for any sort of universal morality. Lying is not universalizable. If no one told the truth would cease to exist. Vote negative 1. Removing current leases from private companies infringes on their property rights. Intervals obtain objects of property declaration by one. Then object of belonging to that person would infringe on the freedom of others. The act of declaring property is rightful when it harmonizes with other acts. 2 private companies that lease land on federal property they've contracted which violates property rights in this contract. Card 19. The majority of gas contracting come from neighboring properties leased gave company the right. Natural gas companies that are valued private sector jobs to retain more cooperative relationship with landowners. If we win, ethics must begin operating with empirical frameworks are a non-starter, which means he used epistemic competence. Their framing is bad. It's a blog written when he was a junior research fellow and saying that deontologists shouldn't exist the risk. He also assumes people aren't experiencing poverty or extreme illness, which demonstrates that life needs have value before we can worth presuming. I'm inserting blue on 1AC or 1AC Plumer 15 and assumes consequences. We've indicted that if ethics are intention based, then this does not matter on the sort of the case. No climate impact. Buckman 23. Science remains unsettled. Failure of climate to confirm the projections. High temperature no more common today than 1900. Human influence can't cause changes. 6 degrees impact would be hardly a catastrophe. Climate stubbornly refuses to add with the extras. Which projections are always unreliable. Warming is mild. No climate causes dangerous weather. Death. They have declined. 99% rates are not threatened. Ice sheet is growing. Sea levels rise at same glow. So growth rate. Oceans remain markedly alkaline and marine life adapts well. No FF species die for extinction. There ever since the worst case scenario and exaggeration results for cliffs. Wait 21. Positive are exaggerated. We're going extinct tubes. They models have powerful built-in bias to exaggerate rate of times rising and hindcasting rises several times faster than observed forecasts or take worst case scenarios. That's likely scientists have been catastrophic forecasts for decades. Your day comes without catastrophe onto the next. Writers know catastrophe forecasts get clicks. Models for IPCC reports are predictions. They do not include natural variability. They do a poor job of simulating decadal scale variability. In the next decades, we'll make progress decoupling from growth with state direction, norm setting, and innovation transformation are already underway. Vast new investments will intensify the month cooperation. Reject the laundry list for multilateralism, hold on a new one-air terminals. It's unpredictable and skews into an you know multilateralism is flawed. It could prevent conflict between Russia and Ukraine or more recently Israel and Palestine. So start the impact to zero. Other credit issues overwhelm mass solvency. Backing Israel, selling weapons, Saudi Arabia alliance weakening has plenty of all causes too. I.e. Trump threatening to leave NATO and current Ukraine aid drama in Congress. There's no impact on North Korean denuclearization or reason why this is relevant at all. You also know their card specifically says China already tried to convince Taiwan, tried to convince Iran, and China is not a threat. Page 21. By ruling Pompeo to create China existential threat to the U.S. How assess that determine war and peace reality. China has neither capability nor motions for the U.S. opposition nuclear arsenal large military significantly lags U.S. in tech and experience as marked the U.S. allies who have potent military. China alone. China has no ideological appeal. Mark the card and appeal. We're going on to the net with the other off. Ukraine passes now. Marcano 11-2. China told Republican senators Ukraine aid linked to border security conflict in the House. Newspaper told senators Ukraine needs aid as it battles Russia. Told senators next order business after Israel would be Ukraine border package. Johnson saying Congress would not abandon Ukraine. Johnson wants to fund in a responsible manner. We've got to these things in the right process. Conservatives like what they heard and the plan trays off. Lavelle 21. Federal land has become smaller world prevalent and has sort of been would stir up a firestorm that hurt Biden, especially in states with substantial leasing. New Mexico and Colorado leasing has taken on some bulk imports. Biden's decision to avert shutdown over leasing reflects the decision to spend easy on stuff that have greater impact. New Mexico government press the White House will relieve a ban would push growers taxes where private land more accessible. Federal judges respect them. The Democrats would be vulnerable. Americans are not trying to decide where oil comes from. When they hear oil ban, they think most oil, not small percent. Republicans will use to undermine overall climate gaps. In other countries, model Russian behavior escalates every other conflict and ensures extinction. 122. The government boost is not the best way to minimize the war. Bluffing the war negates loss to international surrender, increase prospects of the war going for the map of Washington. If responding to Putin's pleasure by stopping Kremlin improvement, they give way to men. Surrender from Georgia, Moldova, Baltic. Mark Doc, 1 sec. Sorry, give me a second.
Could you just like delete cards again?
Yeah, I'll send the marked copy. Just 1 second, almost done. Okay, 1 sec. I marked the ideological. Where is this? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sending it.
Yeah, give me a moment.
Alright, I sent the doc with the cards that were marked. Alright,
Could you give me a moment?
what?
Give me a moment to open it.
Okay.
Or
That's all the marked stuff.
What?
That's the marked stuff.
Yeah, I haven't opened it yet. Yeah, it feels really slow.
Alright, whenever you're ready.
No, I still haven't gotten it. Are you sure you sent her a reply? Okay, man.
Can we start across?
Yeah. Alright, how does the state bargaining counterplan get other countries to follow on?
I think, well, the ultimate result of the counterplan is that the federal government would implement the plan. And so all the reasons that the AFF says that other countries would follow on are reasons that this counterplan would.
Sure. The Kant, why does Kant negate?
I think the United States government has leased these lands and that they've given ownership to these lands to private companies, and that Kant negates because prohibiting would be bad. Because the U.S. agreed to give it to them, which violates their property rights, and they also promised through a contract that they would keep doing it.
Alright, sure. Does the extinction matter under Kantism?
I think that it's not relevant because we're talking about like moral principles and that we think ethics need to begin based.
So it's okay for everyone to die.
I don't think that's what I'm saying at all. I think I'm saying that ethics and our conception of them need to begin with understanding like principles of like right and wrong in the abstract. So I think that that wouldn't necessarily be relevant in the discussion.
Sure. The Ukraine day,
Yeah.
does your evidence is from like a week ago, and then
president says it's gonna pass, how come it hasn't passed, given the 9 days that have happened?
Because he said he's going to do it, and we're seeing that Congress is taking steps towards doing it. I think a week ago is very recent, and that it not passing it yet in a week is not really a big deal.
Alright, so when does it pass?
I don't know when it's gonna pass. I would say probably pretty soon, but like, I think our evidence indicates it will happen soon. Like, I don't know. I can't tell you it's gonna pass tomorrow.
Sure. The advantage counterplan, what is the IRA loophole?
The IRA loophole. So basically, IRA says if you want to lease land for renewables, then you got to offer it to fossil fuel companies. Loophole, we can make the land more expensive. So we're not prohibiting it, we're just saying royalty rate. So a royalty rate is like, royalties are like what they have to give the government.
Okay, never mind. How does it what is the competition?
Well, I think that we're not prohibiting anything.
Alright, so why can we not prohibit that and then issue a tax on it?
Well, I think that would link to our net benefit,
Which is
internal. Well, anything's a net benefit, but I think cost is also a net benefit.
Kant?
Yeah,
Sure.
but there's also an internal net benefit.
Sure, the warming turns, the upswing turn,
Didn't read them.
you didn't, what?
I sent you the ones with the cards I marked. I didn't read that stuff.
What did you not read?
I didn't read adaptation is guaranteed, extreme emissions won't cause extinction, emissions prevent ice age. I don't know, man. Probably should be flowing. And I didn't read anything below the weight evidence on that contention.
Nothing below the weight? Okay.
No.
And you read everything on cooperation?
I marked a card, which is on the doc I sent you,
Oh yeah, I see that.
and I didn't read the last analytic.
The last analytic. Yeah, sure, okay. Did you time cross? Sorry.
Yeah, it just ended.
Okay.
That's why I
I
was.
actually set a 7-minute timer. I don't really know what I'm doing.
It's okay.
Alright, 2 minutes to start starting now.
Alright.
Status?
Of what?
Both counterplans.
Status quo is always a logical option.
Alright. Alright, I'll send.
What's that?
I'm sending.
Okay.
Alright, everybody good?
What's the
Alright,
order?
tell me when you get it. Order? Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Case, Kant. Wait, let me see.
Is there an order on case?
Advantage 1, advantage 2.
Okay, so advantage 1, advantage.
2, Kant.
Wait,
The IRA counterplan, the like.
or wait, so advantage 1, advantage 2, con.
I'm gonna call it the IRA counterplan, so that's what I meant. The state targeting counterplan, and then we bring it aside.
Okay, 1 second. I'll download the doc. I have it.
You know what? I give up. I'm not even gonna put it back on.
Alright, 1 sec.
I really need to get anyone.
Opening it. Alright,
I'm good.
1 second. Okay. Let me just set my computer first. Okay, let me just set my timer. Alright. Yeah, I'm ready.
Alright. Advantage 1, climate change is an accidental catastrophe giving parts of international geological conflict, research and security delays, so that's to advance fossil extraction in the US and Western US commitment to climate, which shows what a global renewables transition on the NC1 and 2 group of both defense. One, which actually defense, one doesn't press in non-linearity, climate change gets worse to the other, all defense scan for exponential impacts, so imports are rapidly approaching until the oceans, but also north to its response to every other, this is the cause warming and security backlash by ideological invincibility, everything you can imagine, those are the dense dynamic stressors that the Peninsula North specifically identifies. Advantage 2, multi-class failing on US and China, just the level of research collaboration, so the essential facts online server literally turns every day because multi-class solves the impact. We solved hypocrisy, we talk about specifically said that the root cause of hypocrisy is biomechanical, but we saw that, and the multi-class method, the filter company came up with multi-class cooperation is effective by the request. You also start policy, the only plan starts that we've given specific internals, and they can't just like analytically be like, you don't get the laundry list, but they haven't actually read defense. And renewable tech development is coming, but the absence of plan China dominates. You solve renewables will over the tech terms abroad, Chinese tech domination, essential rogue AI, WMD, space force, resource control, and global stability. Kant. We get new framework cars that ways we can't respond to new frameworks that want to makes the app possible. And so the content with the which the discoveries on the interprets unreasonable, we're returning the contention viruses, government from the alternative universalizable necessary to the categorical imperative. Means certain, we may from the interest in the environment from the alternative responsible change. The human burning fossils is not universalizable, it was used as uses alliteration to help the means of the end. Semester 10, critical environment sustainability and regeneration of the combination of fossils, to consequences of humanity, because of the member of generation law, the generation summer future, and carry that the shells running up, but the consumer will be more or less the humans into you. And if someone, paragraph already hurts her, someone else in his copyright right to it is lost, you find fossils. Class 1 specifically takes up all the complicates around you. Kenneth 89. Possession subject conditional, the possibility, the maximum possession, direct consideration, sandwiches, and your interest on this. Object cannot be speaking about possession and right, and the literal possession, analytically can provide external possession, opposition, and extinction always under constitution of manual theory, rationality, moral value. But yeah, 19% of the universe, I mean, the value, but again, since most take time, really more value, the right, the spiritual responsibility, and the future, and economics have become partially like distinction, the differentiate value, safety, economy, and value, humanity, social responsibility. They are international law, and local, and other problems, and can be carefully interested capitalism, the punishment for violating plenty, permanently capital, they can also be function, protection, human rights, takes every zone, center competition, shares, operation, and manifest, the reduced with speech, administrative, social tax, example, of the look like, year 16, Peninsula, 20, that they should look as a revolt, they permanently balance the press, like, capitalist, self benefit, non-citizens, looks like the capital includes all the worst, for permanent blend, and tax on the issue, self benefit, better is about taxation, like, the tax issue would be good, it doesn't have, social one copy of the IRA, no permanent balance with money, he doesn't violate some of those laws, also be changed, that's normal fiat, I'll talk about the state part, one part, you also include the camera, process, two terms, the camera, come to the actually come away, level 6, so yeah, 3 from the plans going on, like hospital something else, just as good as special training, like a arbitrary benefits, and with the topic comes with non-terminated benefits, or voting issue, questions, education provided for the capital affairs, state affairs, surface of the North, level 11. No reason Congress is frequently by the super justice, what reason more work, the general benefits, the politicians, pay little attention to the beyond cooperative, fellows, and the other and benefits, each of them, federal retaliation, but beyond 18. 6 on the retaliation, service and lesson consequences that can operate, 10 on the mandate for the financial consequences, and major consequences, change and 5 for state, the state. It's a stranded act of realistic multi-actor film make charter and so that's it's possible. The DA. One feels something which seems the PC is lost to Israel war, the minimum crossing between the possible post states, Congress 1118. But we're going to express the Americans believe in these things, but you can accept over violence, war, particularly, so almost as you like, don't take almost problems, coming to other things. Democratic veto our president, but common policy comes to Republicans get over to the lens of the evincing, strict attention to the transition. Block 11. 21. Democrats are always going for expensive of section offers and levels. Logical, usually accept move away from call. Nothing to the channel of representatives, keep it as United States follow behind and the Republicans to challenge terms of savings over 8 choice 4 winners win. King 21. No demonstrating to the showing for example, the message of those who
awesome. Alright. Cut the last card that like PC is gonna also.
Alright, prep starting now. Okay, so I guess on the first counter plan, like the IRA thing, the only things you said were, you said perm do both shields, perm do counter plan, tax is what the plan is, and perm do the plan over the counter plan? Or,
We read the first 5 args.
okay, just the ones on the dock, or,
Basically,
oh, that's fine.
I didn't accept anything.
Okay. Wait, so you read 5, we don't do the IRA, did you read 5, can't solve the case?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So all the theory arguments were just, it was 50 state, and what else?
There was one more. Let me see. There was conflicts with non-germane net benefits or voting issue.
Okay. What is a germane net benefit?
One that's an opportunity cost of the plan.
Okay. So just states bad and process bad, pretty much, or germane net benefits.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, cool. So, order, it will be, this is complicated. Okay, so we'll start on the politics disadvantage, and then the royalty counter plan, IRA, and then the sort of Kant, and then I'll answer the theory arguments, and
what?
the theory arguments.
Oh yeah,
And then the advantage and advantage 2.
I don't have a full paper. Anyone have any?
Yeah. Give me a second. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
6 minutes, I guess. Okay. Everyone ready? Okay.
We're kicking out of politics, I'll concede via solve, so there's no political capital loss, which means there is no wing. Plus, I didn't read a terminal in the 1 and C, so there's nothing for the 2 to stand up and go for. We're extending the counterplan here. The United States should offer leases for fossil fuels from public lands and waters with a 100% royalty rate, and other leasing while issuing a public declaration that all future fossil fuel leasing will be held at 100% royalty. The IRA conditions leases on renewables with offering land for oil and gas development, but that land doesn't actually have to be sold, only be offered. The Bureau of Land Management already has the authority to increase rents and royalties as it sees fit, which means that setting it at 100% ensures no one buys it because all the revenue from it would just go back to the government, so there is zero incentive to keep buying the land. That solves 100% of the app as we functionally stop them from doing it, but we avoid the constancy and also our internal net benefit because of the fact that we do not necessarily impose a prohibition. That's 1 and C web. You should understand the counterplan is a pick out of prohibit because we continue to allow leasing but make it so there is no incentive to keep extracting. We'll do the line ball in here first on the perm both argument. No, this doesn't shield. It means that it would link back to our net benefit. It would also link back to the con net benefit, which is that it would still be the prohibition. Our evidence explains why the prohibition, why the breaking of the contracts would be wrong rather than the innate morality of whether or not we can increase or change these contracts, which is distinct from taking the property rights of these companies away. It also links back to the internal net benefit because it means that it would functionally ban renewables. You should understand, we're going for the net benefit here. The net benefit link turns the app. The IRA prevents the Department of Interior from leasing federal land for renewables unless it also offers land for oil and gas. The plan cannot change this. Basically, a prohibition would ban renewables on public land, which zero sums. It means the app is actually worse for the energy transition. We'll do the additional line by line work here. They say first the perm vote that was entered above. The perm counterplan argument is nonsense. This sort of functional and textual competition because the counterplan is a functionally and textually distinct action from the plan. The counterplan has the same result as the app, but does not have the same mandate as the app, and its text is literally completely different. Perm the counterplan severs out of every word in the plan. It severs out of prohibition at least, which we've read evidence defining that they have not contested with on the sort of argument of the tax being how it would be. This does not define what a prohibition is. A prohibition in the 1 and C evidence which they have dropped says that it entails a complete stop and means that it is distinct from this. On the sort of permitted plan through the process of the counterplan, this is intrinsic and should be rejected. Intrinsic permutations are bad because it adds something else for AFF condo. It lets them re-explain the app in different ways and add things on top, which makes it impossible to garner an opportunity cost to the plan. On the sort of permitted the plan and tax other issues, this is not the taxes counterplan that your team is reading. This is a distinct action that increases royalties, which means that taxing stuff doesn't change anything. On the sort of argument about not doing the IRA and entailing a permanent ban, we say they do not change the IRA, which means that they link back to it, and there isn't really anything about it. It violates those laws, and you cannot change those laws because that is not a mandate of the plan. That is also a voting issue for AFF condo and a reason to reject this stuff. On the sort of the framing issue for this is that they have conceded that the counterplan is able to solve 100% at risk of the app, which means they cannot stand up and go for a permutation absent a solvency deficit to the counterplan, which means that you know that it solves 100% of the app and avoids sides with net benefits, which have both been conceded. So we have offense under util too. We're going on to the sort of con stuff. Silly, but they have dropped every reason that ethics must begin operate, which is that there is an is-odd gap, i.e. that we cannot use how people act now, i.e. using normative things like pleasure and pain or experience-based ethics in order to determine how people should act, which makes our framework a necessary prerequisite to determine what the world should look like rather than just describing what it is. They've also conceded the regress argument. When we ask why we should do something, we demand a reason for it. And ultimately, the only 2 out is trying to go for these turns on our theory, but because they have not extended a reason for util, their turns ignore the fact that we've indicted the plan's prohibition and the plan's method as innately immoral, whereas we have a counterplan that theoretically would be able to solve all their harms there. The counterplan avoids the contingency because we are not instituting a prohibition in the first place. I'll do the line in here. First they say this stuff about like all this stuff is just reasons that climate change is bad, but the problem is you have not given a reason why a prohibition, why the breaking of those contracts is necessary, which means that a counterplan should be sufficient to solve this, and they have not made an argument to the contrary. That means that they have functionally dropped this net benefit to it, and that means that it comes first under our framework because they have conceded our offense, which is that it violates the private property rights to take that land away from these companies, whereas our counterplan would only make them willingly give it up, which means that only we are able to avoid it there on the sort of argument of extinction outweighs under Kant. That's fine, but you have not answered the calc indicts from the 1 and C, which means that it is impossible to use consequences because they freeze action and are unable to and are also unverifiable, which you should not let the 2 get new answers to. Theory arguments. On the sort of states counterplan argument, I'll answer it here. First, it's not the states counterplan, or actually, it's not uniform. We would say the states would do it differently, so that means that we meet their interpretation. Second is that this is not, you did not have you drop the debater warrant in the one error, which means that you should not vote on this argument because you know that it will be brand new. That means drop the argument solves. We're not going for it, which solves all of it and deters this in the future because we always lose the theory that we're never going to extend the counterplan, and that means that there is no abuse, and the theory checks back against the abuse, but independently they had reasons that it fails, which means that it was not impossible to engage. You should use reasonability on this matter because competing interests encourages race to the bottom. On the sort of arguments about germane net benefits, on the sort of the other thing, this is nonsense and is arbitrary. No one knows what a germane net benefit is, and I'll answer it regardless. They're not going for it solves. They do not have a warrant for class or educational value, so this stuff is all going to be new in the two errors, so you should not evaluate it, but independently, we do have a germane net benefit to the counterplan that we are going for. Drop the argument solves all of their offense there, though.
I guess, case?
Case does not matter because we've won the risk that the counterplan is able to solve 100% risk of the AFF, as they do not have a deficit to it, so you should assume that it is able to because we result in the same action as the affirmative through a different method. The sort of arguments about the no impact to warming does not matter as we solve warming, so do not need to answer these things. On the sort of stuff about the multilateral impact, which they also cannot go for because they have conceded that China is not a threat and that China is not able to contest the US because its technology is behind, which is the evidence in the 1 and C, which is the pay evidence, which they have conceded and not done the Y-1 analysis on. Your ballot is that you can only evaluate Kantian ethics because they've conceded that Kantianism is the only way to do it because of ethics must begin a priori, and only the counterplan is actually moral under Kant and avoids util if they try that.
Case.
Is there an order on case?
Just like advantage 1, advantage 2.
The counterplan and then...
Alright, so advantage.
Wait. Yeah, the counterplan and the solve.
Advantage 1, advantage 2, and then the counterplan, and then Kant. Where's my blue pen? Okay. Yeah, I'm ready.
Advantage 1 will continue through the 2 hour the time advanced philosophy was supposed over to global renewable transition broadly. That's all climate change, tipping points, chances, stressors, etc. Advantage 2 will concede that China's not a threat. That is in the descends to advantage 1. Alright. We're going for the third argument. Come to the plan through the process of the Kanterplan. It's non-intrinsic because it looks like Kanterplan. And it includes all the words. You do the plan and then you apply us like the IRA royalty, 100% royalty tax. It's not functionally or intentionally intrinsic because it does have all the words in a plan and only works when Kanterplan and it only does things under the mandate of the Kanterplan. And under the mandate of the plan, we explain why it's not intrinsic because it looks like the Kanterplan was doing because it does the mandate of the Kanterplan, but it includes all the words, which means that there is no intrinsic claim. Regardless, they didn't make any reason why the external functional competition is bad. They just said the Kanterplan competes both ways. But regardless, that also justifies being firms that are intrinsic one way or the other, which means that we get functionally intrinsic firms even if you buy that the firm is functionally intrinsic because it does one thing after the other. That you still can you still evaluate it because external functional competition justifies intrinsicness of one form because it wouldn't be an intrinsicness of one form. Regardless, we're going for the we're also going to go for the durable field stuff. We don't do the IRA, we enable a permanent fan. That's what the 1AC does. Even if it violates some of those laws, we change that durable field. This is the most fair for me. Anything else? Maybe they could just be like they could just be like the plan violates this law. That means that the plan wouldn't be passed as essentially a form of this argument that like we can't have like passive false field because that's the IRA. That means that this is essentially a form of the plan that can't be passed. But durable field should solve that. Anything that doesn't know durable field means that it's possible like the implementation of the plan, not the actual plan, the actual merits of the plan itself, which is impossible for debate. They said like this is a voter vote, but if we win this, they said like this is not a change, it's not a voter vote. That doesn't apply if we win that the wealth field is good and like again the IRA thing is not what the plan does. They define the IRA, yes, but we prohibit we do the United States. We haven't even established an actor, so that means it could be the states for all you know, which we for the states, which means that it wouldn't link to any wouldn't link to the IRA stuff because we've never established that the IRA does it, which means that Sofia solves also this links to the Kantian ethics source. Their Kantian ethics are about what actions are entailed. They are doing this kind of with the intention of preventing people from having access to the lease, which means that every other consequence links to the Kanterplan as well as the plan because it's about the intentions of what that's what they couldn't cross. It's about the intentions of it, which is not the means of the action and stuff. That all of the content that which proves that this links to Kant. This also links to Kant. They dropped the Kant evidence of someone's property or someone else that's obviously right is lost. You specifically explain how that got because it contradicts the axiom of justice. This was straight conceded through the term. They just said like these are no permissions. But we specifically in the idea of private property. Private property is private property. Since it's private property, i.e. private leases are hurting other people, i.e. climate change. That means it loses a priori because the right to an intelligent possession is not contained analytically analytically.
Good debate.
Good debate. I'll get some more
Cool.
outside.
Okay, cool. Very good.
Yeah.
I voted negative. I think the permutation is intrinsic to justified conditionality. Even if you do like the plan for the process of the Kant plan, the exact text of the permutation that was in the 1AR had something about like a substantial tax, and because I wasn't really given another term text, I'm not sure why it wouldn't be textually intrinsic or functionally intrinsic, even if it was explained to be that way in the 2AR. The IRA stuff is not necessarily a question of whether or not the plan happens, it's a question of whether or not renewable transition would happen, because if the plan gets to prohibit leases on fossil fuels, that means that they never offer land up. And if they never offer land for fossil fuels, then they can't offer renewables. So it still assumes the plan happens, it just means that renewables don't happen. So at best, the app can't solve. The Kanterplan is, better because it doesn't prohibit leases. The links to net benefit argument is new in the 2AR. In most circumstances, this would probably be okay, but since they clarified across that Kant was a net benefit to this Kanterplan, then I think that that's an argument that would have to be made in the 1AR. I think the terms on Kant in the 2AR are also a little bit too time crunched to be fully fleshed out or explained. The only thing that I have on my flow is that the app is good because fossil fuels hurt people through climate change. I think specifically I have private property is unjust because the leases hurt other people through climate change. I think the argument that Calconites would take it out because it's consequential, consequences are unpredictable, would also sort of answer that turn. Does anyone have questions?
Did you conclude that there wasn't util stuff that wasn't relevant? Okay. So the net benefit that was the link term banned renewables doesn't matter.
I think maybe less about I view it as a solvency deficit to the app, if that makes sense. So I guess you can see it as a link term. Okay. But that would only come down if that would only have more of an impact on my decision if the 2AR went for we solve climate change.
Okay.
I was in a Kant or util so.
Okay. Do you think the 2R was the right move?
Let me look. I definitely like the Cryan video. I think it was very cool.
The Kanterplan?
The Kanterplan, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking it was kind of silly, but I was like, this is the round.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that if you spend enough time on it, you probably could have gone for the politics just out or the other uncooperative federalism counterplan, but
okay.
I think this one
okay. Anything that you would change for it?
I would definitely answer the last Kant term because that was the argument that probably would have been a little bit more damning for you if the jury got to it with more time, that the use of private property is unjust because it was not legitimate in the first place.
Okay.
Sorry, I'd spend more time on that. Yeah.
Was there one E2AR?
Yeah, I think it probably goes all in on Kant terms. Yeah, I think conceding the Calconites means that maybe util wasn't the best option. So you would have to go for property rights are bad and the app is good to yeah, just explain why your terms are not necessarily consequential, and why the counterplan